What's up, agents, and welcome back to another Division build video. We are continuing with our Heartbreaker videos. Let me know in the comments down below if there's any kind of variation you want me to try out and maybe make a video on. I would greatly appreciate it. But today we're going with a classic and a classic. So Heartbreaker mixed with the good old Kingbreaker, which is kind of perfect for this set. So without any more chatter, let's get straight into this mission. Easy Lincoln Memorial, really good for testing. But I know a lot of you are going to complain, you're like, Tickle, what are you doing? What are you doing? I've got the shield on this time. This is the first video in 3 I had the shield on, so please forgive me. But also, we can switch, get some of these stacks up, go old school. I know this, I didn't actually pulse him. Oh, actually, I made it, I've got the link laser pointed on the gun. We'll need to check that out. But look at the survivability on this. The shield adds so much. This guy's doing my head in. Love how he popped his head then from such a distance. The shield also lets us to, you know, get a bit up close and nasty, like, you know. Hybrid. Really, really nice. Survivability is really cool on this build. Alright, I've just done the quick switcheroo on the link laser pointer on the shotgun. Can't spoil the build yet, although you probably guessed it by now, let's face it. Hi guys. So this is a great section, obviously, just for getting them stacks up. We're at max Heartbreaker stacks. We're on fire. We're loving life. What's up, guys? Someone chilling behind, but let's not worry about him for now, because we know these are coming out. Man, it's just like death. At 1.2 mil crit. We're not even at max stacks. And look at all that survivability. We are loving life right now. We'll do this next section, and then, you know, I've wasted far too much of your time if you're not already. If you're still watching, then you might have skipped already, but short videos equals wins, right? Let me know in the comments down below. He's going in. And the fact that Shield surviving, you know, this kind of punishment, you know, you can see I'm not really, you know, hiding too much or anything like that. I like what your ninja roll. Do I like your ninja roll? Is that what you were saying to me? Weirdo. Please stop hiding. Thank you. Oh, where did he come from? We lose a bit of damage when we're playing at such distance, but I'll you know, I'll just kind of show you that we can still, you know, put in the 755k crit at distance, which is nice. Not trying to flank you, I'm running up on you. Thank you for dying so quick. Yeah, winner, absolute chicken dinner. I'm loving this. Actually, I think this is my favorite variant of the builds that I've done in the last 2 videos. So I'm kind of liking it. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. The survivability was off the chart. Considering we were still hitting over 1 million crits, then, you know. But you've got to, like, switch in a little bit. Every now and again, you're going to have to think, you know, I've got to switch to that rock and roll. I've got to get some stacks up, because you're not always going to be, you know, getting the most out of those stacks. So let's take a quick look at what it is I'm running. So this is going to be it. No surprise, a lot of you probably guessed already. But we were definitely running Technician for the linked laser pointer. And the reason we did that is because the Kingbreaker is an absolute beast. Even with, you know, changes that it's had with the various patches previously, you can see I've got 21% expertise in it. So it could be, you know, 5% better damage to target out of cover. perfect flatline, giving us 20% amp damage to every enemy that we shoot because they're always going to be pulsed. Yeah, I mean, it's an absolute beast of a gun, and yeah, definitely one worth running. I did mention running the rock and roll. Just make sure, unlike me at the beginning of this video, you've got the linked laser pointer on there. If you want to take a look at the mods on the Kingbreaker very quickly, I forgot about that. I've got crit chance, the extra rounds, the linked laser pointer, obviously, and more crit chance. Offhand, you can run anything you like. That's absolutely fine. For the backpack, I went with the Liquid Engineer. The reason I went with the Liquid Engineer is because it gives us 1% armor regen, armor, crit chance, crit damage in the mod slots, and perfect bloodsucker. Killing an enemy adds and refreshes the stack of 12% bonus armor for 10 seconds, up to 10 times. Now, if you've not got a Liquid Engineer, because it either comes from crafting it if you've been playing Descent, or it's a DZ exclusive, or from like a named item cache, you could run anything else here that you wanted to, just with regular bloodsucker. So perhaps, you know, you could run Petrov, you know, for some LMG damage, and run bloodsucker with it as well. You could run a Grupo for some extra crit damage here, if you wanted to as well. I just went with the perfect version because, you know, it's a little bit nicer having the 12% rather than the 10%. But yeah, you've got plenty of options here if you've not got a Liquid Engineer. Moving on to the chest piece, the same again. Although I think if you go to Cassie now, she's got a Liquid Engineer that you can make into this version. Armor, crit chance, crit damage. So depending on when you're watching this video, she's had a couple of them recently. So hopefully everyone's got one by now. But armor, crit chance, crit damage, and crit chance in the mod slot with perfect intimidate. So why we have bonus armor, which we just talked about, the backpack that will give it us all of the time. Gain 1 stack each up to a second. Gain 1 stack each second up to a max of 10. Each stack increases weapon damage by 4% for enemies within 10 meters, which is why I specified about running the shield and getting up close and personal with the enemies, because that means we're always going to have this damage, and it's really, really nice. Now, if you've not got a hunter killer, you could run regular intimidate here, again with similar options that I just talked about, with perhaps a Petrov chest with regular intimidate, a Grupo chest with intimidate, or even a Seska chest as well would work with intimidate, just so you can get some extra damage. Maybe a Walker Harris chest with intimidate. Whatever you've got in your stash will work fine. The extra damage from the perfect is really nice. It's definitely one to work to. It's just a shame that the one-piece brand set bonus doesn't go, you know, give us anything extra, but it doesn't matter. The perfect version is well worth it. So that's some options for you there. You can see I'm running 3 armor cores on this. Now that's totally up to you. You can run 3, 4, 2, 1, whatever you like. 3 is kind of a sweet spot for me because obviously this relies on us having bonus armor for us to have all the damage that you saw that it was putting out with the Kingbreaker. So I would definitely say 3 or more. It just depends on what you're comfortable in running. We're then going to run Heartbreaker. So obviously Heartbreaker gives us bonus armor as well. As we'll talk about that in just a moment. But we get assault rifle damage, LMG damage. We're not bothered about the LMG damage in this one because we're running a Kingbreaker. But again, you could run whatever gun you want here. As long as it supports linked laser pointer, you don't have to run the Kingbreaker. I just like it because it puts out an insane amount of damage, letting us then spec into most of our ability in the build. Weapon handling is always nice, and then we've got the headshots apply the pulse. We don't need to worry about that because we're running the linked laser pointer. And then weapon hits on pulsed enemies add a stack of 1% bonus armor, which as long as we are getting that bonus armor, we're always going to be in extra damage, and 1% weapon damage up to a max stack of 50. Now, it was only easy for me to ever get to 50, and I've said this in all of my videos. I feel like I'm preaching it a little bit. But it was only ever easy for me to get to the 50 stacks when I used the rock and roll. Now, I'm not a massive fan of keep switching. I would much rather just be using my primary gun. If you are a fan of keep switching, you could potentially run the Heartbreaker chest in here, but I really don't feel like it's worth it. The Kingbreaker doesn't have a hugely fast RPM either to help assist with that. So the 50 stacked version for me with Intimidate just gives us more constant damage at all times. But there is potentially, you know, we could talk about raids, we could talk about legendaries, we could talk about incursions where running the Heartbreaker chest might be worth it. But for day-to-day build and play that this build is intended for, just, yeah, the chest just isn't worth. We've got armor, crit chance, and crit damage on the mask. On the gloves, we've got weapon damage and crit chance. On the knees, we've got weapon damage and critical hit chance. And on the holster, weapon damage and critical hit damage, which is really, really nice. I ran the shield with this. You don't have to run the shield. You could run something that might heal you, although we've only got one yellow core. You could run the drone. I like running the striker drone. You know, it makes the enemies run around a little bit, pops them out of cover. That's nice. Whatever you want here. But I do always recommend running the Reviver Hive. You know, there's nothing worse if you're playing by yourself and something goes wrong, especially with an up close and personal build. So definitely worth it. Stat wise, we're going to go with all these stats here. We're at 56% crit chance, 105% crit damage, 75% headshot damage, 21% health damage, which is really, really nice. And yeah, the build just smacks. You saw in that little bit of a demo. I know Lincoln's the easiest mission in the game to run, but we don't have to worry too much about the distance either. We were getting, you know, with what, 60% of the stacks, we were still hitting for like 600-700k crits. So if something does happen to be at distance, you know, the Kingbreaker's, you know, fairly accurate. It's not terrible because we get this really nice weapon handling buff as well, so it calms it down a little bit and makes distance not a problem either, and you're still going to hit really, really hard. That's going to be it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you run down below in the comments and I might make a video on it. I'm feeling a little bit good about Division right now. I want to make some build videos. It's been a while, put out a few recently, so I hope you're enjoying it. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to check me out over on X. I post there all of the time. And if you want to join my community Discord, you'll find the link down below in the description. See you in the next one, agents.